Doc here with Last Best Tool, and today I've got a cool tool alert. And what this alert is all about is the Milwaukee Demo Screwdriver, and this is the heavy-duty striking demo screwdriver. It's basically a combination chisel, striking scraper, pry bar, and screwdriver, and it actually has a slotted end that does in fact work. Milwaukee makes other what they call demo screwdrivers, and that's these guys here. They have striking caps on the back, little smaller shaft. You can see on this Phillips they didn't reduce it at the end. They used a constant sized shaft, and they ended up kind of making a, I can bend this a little bit. I don't know how strong it is, but they call these demo screwdrivers as well. And this one's got a standard tip. I don't know if they bead blast these or just, wouldn't be surprised if they were just painted, but there's a little bit of texture there. Something's going on. But anyway, these are demo screwdrivers, and then they put it I guess gave it some steroids, and this is what they came up with. It's really dense, very, well, I don't know if it's heavy. We're going to find out. But it's got a kind of a multi-purpose tip on this. It is designed for operating fasteners as well as for cutting ductwork, kind of putting the sharper edge here into metal. Just punch it into the metal and then pound on it with a hammer and work your way down. And then you end up with a kind of a knife operation there. It's a four-sided shaft. You could easily put a wrench on that and add a bunch of torque. You can whale on it. This is designed apparently for a pry bar use, where if you had a hammer and you wedged it in under something, and then pounded down to pry something up, I guess. It seems like it's a pretty big ask, but that's what it's for. And I think one of the questions is, I'm using this here is an 8-ounce hammer. Hammers aren't all created equal. This is one of my favorites, little Fisker sledge. It's almost like it's designed for kind of like a drilling hammer, or even a forge, pounding on an anvil. But anyway, I like the form factor of being so small. The screwdriver's longer than the hammer. Really heavy head. I think that's like 2.5 pounds. But other hammers aren't quite the same. Here we've got a 2-ounce Blue Point ball peen, which if you can get one, I think they discontinued it. So hard to find, but I don't know who was buying these, jewelers maybe, but I find it's invaluable working with small pins, especially doing gunsmithing, things like that. It's just such a nice form factor with a decent size handle. But anyway, it's on top of this is a 40-ounce snap-on, yet, either one of these would be possible to, use on a chisel. This one's kind of underrated for that, but this particular hammer, I just can't imagine that this wouldn't destroy this. So I guess it's up to the user, but anyway, they actually did it. They said, here is a screwdriver that is designed as a pry bar and as a chisel and as a striking scraper and everything else. One thing I noticed right away is that the weight distribution is pretty crazy. So the balance point is actually about there. You can see it's balancing on the on this old Craftsman, so it's quite a ways back. Whereas if you took a conventional screwdriver, here's an old snap-on. Where's the balance point? It's actually in front of the handle. So when you're working with one of these, you do notice, that if you're trying to use it as a screwdriver, that it wants to tip over backwards this direction, not fall into the workpiece. So something to keep in mind. On this particular version, I have a couple of these. I use them. I actually keep these in cars too. I figure they're great, when you need that one tool to bust something, pry something, smash a window, whatever it is. I used to keep just a general big screwdriver up front and easy reach. And now I keep one of these up there. But anyway, on this one I sharpened it and actually put it on the belt grinder to give it more of an edge. I couldn't keep it quite as straight as I wanted, so it's just sharp now. But otherwise, I do like these, and I like them way better than these because these aren't the greatest screwdrivers either, and they're real heavy. The balance point on these is still far back. Look at that, it's way back there. So when you're using it, you really notice the extra weight. I mean, where is it on a conventional Craftsman? Let's find out. Probably about right there. So this one tends to fall forward into the work. This one falls away from the work. Just a subtle thing, but anyway, so I started thinking about these guys. And my first question was, you know, going back to the screwdrivers, the cool tool here, I wondered about the thickness and thought, is that really too thick? So I got my micrometer and actually measured it just kind of way up here at the tip and looked at that, and it looks like it's about 1.5 millimeters. And I thought, well, what are other things? You know, and I grabbed the snap-on here, and it turns out that the snap-on's about 1.6 millimeters. Craftsman, oops, get just the tip of the screwdriver there, is about 1.3. So this is a finer tip. So I thought, this is kind of crazy. I walked around the house and collected some snap-ons, different size slotteds, to measure them. Here's a giant, brand new green one. Grab the micron or the caliper here and put it on the tip. This one's about 1.4. That's respectable. How about this guy? I just got it as a replacement. I did a video on that. When I go up here to the tip with this, again 1.5. This is a replacement tip on this guy. What is that one? 1.6. What about one of these little, this is the next size down, 1.2. Old school, not replaced yet. That one's, oops, I'll get it on there. This is about probably a 4 on that. So these are definitely in the ballpark. I did notice that some of these, this was a replacement shaft on an older handle, but this guy here, look at that monster. What's going on there? 1.6, a little bigger, and this is the next size down in a new handle. Let's see what this guy is. 1.5 in a smaller handle. So a little bit of variability here. I was kind of surprised on one of these. I don't know if it was this one. Yeah, because there's the other, the older one. So I'll run a replacement. Go up here. Again, 1.5. So there's good quality control there. I was impressed. So this is definitely in the ballpark as the same as all of these. I started to wonder when I came kind of to the alignment, you know, if you're whacking on these handles have to be just right. Otherwise, you know, if it was off center, you know, you'd be banging on the wrong spot. And one thing I've noticed is Snap-on really tries to line things up. I should say tries. Most of the time they're successful. I noticed one on a ratchet I recently got, this guy here, that they didn't quite line up the logo the way they should have with the handle. This is actually on crooked, so somebody got a little lazy, was reaching for their coffee cup while they were smashing the handle on. If you watch the videos of how these are made, you can see it's pretty slam dunk process when they smash these together. But they can be off. And in the screwdrivers, they really need to be spot on because it is an oriented tool. Something to think about. Not as critical if you've got a round handle, but whenever you go to a different shape, you really need to have it lined up. I also wondered, as I picked one of these guys up, if in fact it was solid all the way through. And the way I decided to test that was with a multimeter, using it on the, see if you can see that. You don't really, you can hear it. Basically, I'm using the continuity. So if I touch it here on the handle and here, you can see the current is flowing. I'm touching it on the back of the handle and on the front. Nothing's happening. Of course, I need to touch it on both places on the back of the handle to make sure that that's actually conductive. What about this ring up here? Nothing. And then I wondered, you know, what about the regular demo screwdrivers? Test here on this part. Though that works. Test it here. That works. That does not work. I wonder what's going on. Is there a different metal in there? Is it non-conductive? Kind of interesting. Grab my snap-on hammer here. That one goes right through. So there's really good conductivity between those two. Try it with the smaller one. Works, see? Right through there. So those work. So I went ahead and grabbed a handful of other tools. In this case, some striking chisels, striking scrapers. There's a big green. So it works here. And pulled one there. Nothing. Is this conductive? Yep, that works. But it doesn't seem to flow through here, which is interesting. Try this one. This is an older handle design. Double test. That works. That works. And nothing. What about their striking scraper? That works. Oops. Get these. I have the tiny little tips on these guys. There we go. That works. And now this. Hold them tight. Nothing. I tried it on several. And then I went ahead and tried it on this little guy. I don't need to pull the cap off because I'm not playing around there. Nothing. Can double check that, make sure it's conductive. Right here. Fine. But then, check this out. Here's the old school handle, same situation. Test here, and then watch this. This one does have conduction through it. So out of all these tools, this snap-on striking scraper, or striking pry bar, excuse me, the littlest one, there you go. So, as I was playing around with my cool tool here, I ended up discovering something else interesting about these tools. Hope you found it useful. Doc out.